Hey all, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review. It is time again, and I'm coming at you with a continuation of action films, and basically what it is today is 12 Rounds, the original with John Cena, directed by Renny Harlin. Yes. This film was done in, what year was this? 2009, when WWE was still getting into the movie films and whatnot. I see ya, Hawk. I'm doing a review though, man. Where they were still, into the, the movie reviews and everything that, or not movie reviews, where WWE films were still into movies and things like that. Obviously, if you look at current time, you can see how WWE films has sort of really flopped, and they've not made a movie in a while. And I mean, they did have some good ones. I used to not like The Marine. I think The Marine now is just a good, fun, sort of bizarre action movie. It is enjoyable. It is not the best by any means, but it is an enjoyable film that is really good. You have, See No Evil, which, according to a lot of fans, is quite possibly the best movie that they've done. One of them. I know a lot of fans said that the Marine 2 with Ted DiBiase was really good, which I recently just bought that, so at some point I will have to give the review for that too somewhere down the line. More than likely that'll probably also be in the action part of my films too. But I know a lot of people said the Marine 2 with Ted DiBiase Jr. was a good one. And then I have this other gem that I know a lot of people liked. According to what I've already seen on Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of people did not like this movie, both fan and critic consensus alike, which I can sort of understand, but I mean, 2009, I think we can honestly say in 2009, 2009, the action genre is not appreciated like it used to be. And I mean, that's what I thought 12 Rounds was. A film not to be taken very seriously, but it's a good film. It's almost like a retelling of Speed, and done in my opinion, just a good way. And I mean, they're both done by Renny Harlin. Speed and 12 Rounds are both done by Renny Harlin. And I still need to get other Renny Harlin films. I have Die Hard 2, Die Harder. I have Deep Blue Sea. I have 12 Rounds here. Cliffhanger is another one I would like to get at some point. Speed as well, I have to add to the collection, because Speed was a phenomenal movie, which I didn't know Renny Harlin directed, but he did. And Speed is a great movie himself, or itself, not himself, itself. And with 12 Rounds, it basically stars John Cena as Danny Fisher, who is this beat cop at the beginning of the movie. He's with his partner, and he plays this beat cop where, they're working the street of New Orleans. And I like how this movie takes place in New Orleans, Louisiana. I thought it was a interesting place to have this movie here. New Orleans isn't usually always, featured in movies. They actually did do a lot of location shooting in New Orleans, which I thought was really awesome. And, John Cena plays Danny Fisher, this cop, who, they're just out and about, trying to get the beat. I think Danny Fisher wanted to become a pilot or go into space. I know I've only seen the film twice, so I don't know every concrete thing about the film, because like I say, I need to see the film a couple more times, unless I really, really love it and enjoy it to get a handle on it. But I do know most of the film because I did enjoy it. But Danny, I think, was trying to get a different position for something than what he had, or they were trying to move up as cops, him and his partner, I forget which, but they get a call saying that this well-known criminal and terrorist, is on the loose. And let's see here, I got a bit of the casting here. I won't give. Yeah, Miles Jackson, this well-known terrorist and criminal from Ireland, is on the loose, and you know, the FBI is trying to track him down. He gives the FBI the slip and the CIA the slip, because I think the CIA and FBI were working together. And you have this moment where, you know, the cops sort of get a handle on the information. You know, they really don't know what's going on because they haven't been fully informed, but they know that this guy is dangerous. What happens is Danny and his partner accidentally run into their car, and you know, they stop them. Basically, they smash into their car. They go on the run. Danny's partner sadly ends up getting shot and injured, and Danny's, you know, chasing after Miles. Jeez, Miles Jackson. I was about to say Miles Jordan. Miles Jackson and his girlfriend. And what happens is Danny ends up chasing Miles to the point where I think he stops him, and like he tells Miles tells his girlfriend to keep running, and the girlfriend, you know, runs into the middle of the street stupidly, not watching where she's going, and there's a semi truck that comes out of nowhere, smashes into her completely and kills her. And Miles Jackson is in shock. You know, he doesn't know exactly what to think. He's just upset with Danny Fisher and blames him, and he looks at Danny Fisher's name tag, and you know, the FBI and CIA and other cops are coming up, and you know, Miles Jackson ends up getting arrested, and he looks at Danny Fisher's name and he's like, you, I'll remember you, like, you know, setting up a threat for the future. This whole thing ends up like starting off like the next part of the movie, still near the beginning, to where we find out that Danny Fisher and his partner got promoted to detectives, and they got to move up in the police rankings. And you know, Danny Fisher and his, I think it's his wife at the time, or maybe it's still his girlfriend, but you know, they're still trying to, you know, have a better life. They live in a nice little house. You know, like, I think Danny's girlfriend, or once again wife, I forget which, she goes out to shop, or she goes to like a charity thing every week. Danny has the day off from work, and he's, you know, just checking things out with his partner. Everything's good. A plumber actually comes over to work on the house, and I think Danny's dog, I think this little pug dog, needs to go outside to use the bathroom. He goes outside to use the bathroom. He gets a phone call on his cell phone, and it's Miles Jackson, you know, telling him, you know, what to do, and like, you know, threatening him. And he's like, you know, do you remember me? And like, hey Danny, you know, you took everything from me. I know you probably remember me now. You get the thing. And you know, Danny's threatening him, and oh, that's it. Miles Jackson threatens Danny and Molly, and you know, Danny's like, well, if you go anywhere near Molly, you know, I'll kill you and whatnot. And I mean, as you can imagine, Miles Jackson has other men from prison that he broke out with, because that's what happened. Miles Jackson broke out of prison, and he has other men he's working with to set up Danny Fisher. And again, while Miles is making his threats, you know, Danny Fisher is talking on his phone, and then all of a sudden, I think Miles alludes to a bomb that's about to go off at his house. Like, Danny tries to make a run and tells the plumber that he's good friends with to get out of the house, and house blows up, sends, you know, the explosion sends Danny flying. You know, he gets a little injured, and luckily his pug dog's okay. Sadly, you know, the plumber's dead, and that really sucks because they were good friends. Similar to, you know, the bus driver and Speed. That's, I think, a nice, fresh, different throwback to Speed in many ways, in my opinion. And, you know, that's how the game begins, and Danny's, you know, trying to go all around town to find Miles Jackson to play his 12-round games, because that's what it is. 12 rounds is setting up things for, like, Miles and his men to, like, get at Danny Fisher. Plus, there's other things going on that I will get to in a moment. And, you know, as you can imagine, Danny plays the games. He realizes that Miles is up to something different and no good. You have, Danny catch up with him to where near the end of the film, Miles is using Molly to get away because, that's it. Molly works at the hospital because she's a helicopter pilot for the hospital, and he uses her to put the helicopter up so they can fly away and escape. Danny gets there to stop him. There's a huge fight on the plane, and big huge battle. Nice, awesome big battle or not the plane, the helicopter. And what happens is I think Molly and Danny jump out to safety, and really cool things that happen there. And the helicopter explodes with Miles inside because I forgot they let off the gas, so there was nitrogen in there, and I forgot what Danny did, but I think he throws something in there or something's in the helicopter that causes it to explode, killing Miles. And Danny and Molly end up jumping, I think, into another pool at this hotel, and they survive miraculously without injury. But hey, it's an action movie. You take what you get with it, really. And it's a good film. And John Cena, again, in my opinion, great actor, great at doing action, great at doing comedy. He definitely can be a bona fide hero if they want him to be in a movie. He's really good as Danny Fisher here. He's really good as Danny Fisher, and you believe him. He really does have a similar Keanu Reeves vibe from Speed, and he sets up to himself to be a good hero. He goes through challenges, he goes through tribulations. He plays all of Danny's games, and there's actually a part where Miles is dangling Molly in front of him on a trolley, which is messed up, but it's hey. And there's one part that John Cena hated doing in this movie. John Cena does not like heights, and he had to zip line down the side of a building using a fire hose that his brother in the movie has, because his brother's a fireman, and he used a fire hose to zip line down the side of the building and to get down. And I remember John Cena thought he was going to have a stunt double for this, but Renny Harlin wanted him in the shot to make the shot believable. And I remember they have it in the special features where John Cena's I did it for this movie, but guys, don't expect me to ever do any high death-defying stunts again. And so basically, if we ever want to see John Cena battle atop a skyscraper, it's probably going to be with a stunt double with his face overimposed, because he said he would not do any other heights again. So unless things changed over the years with him, I don't think we'll ever see him do anything like that again, because he seemed adamant about that in the 12 rounds special features, because he is not a fan of heights at all. I can agree, John Cena, not a huge fan of heights, but that was still a cool scene for John Cena to be a part of. And John Cena really plays the role of Danny Fisher well. I mean, he really did a great job in this film. And personally, I like John Cena more than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Sorry, guys. I know Dwayne Johnson is a lot of people's fans. I think Dwayne Johnson is mediocre. John Cena is really good. Dave Bautista is really good. But yeah, John Cena is mediocre. Or not John Cena. The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is really mediocre up the butt. I think John Cena is really flipping good. Let's see. And moving on, we have Aidan Gillen, who plays Miles Jackson. As you can imagine, like I said earlier just then, Aidan Gillen plays the terrorist Miles Jackson, who the FBI and CIA are chasing. He's in New Orleans, I believe, delivering messages and weapons to people. I think he even kills a couple people in the beginning. Not too sure, but they're tracking him, trying to find out what he's up to. And as they're chasing him, that's where him and his girlfriend run into Danny Fisher, and all the stuff with the girlfriend getting killed, Miles wanting revenge, happens. And you can see that Aidan Gillen, who plays him, Aidan Gillen really knows how to be those sleazebags. Because if you guys have understood, Aidan Gillen is the same actor who plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones, probably most notable for Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. And he plays Miles Jackson here, and he's so good at playing despicable people. I mean, because as Miles Jackson in this movie, you just want to hate him. He's doing despicable things. He, like, hurts a lot of innocents, kills a lot of innocents in this movie, you know, shoots a lot of, you know, cops on duty, you know, I think he kills, like, a couple security guards and medical workers at the hospital when he's trying to escape with Molly. I mean, just a detestable person is Miles Jackson. And, you know, like, his whole 12 rounds thing was to torture Danny and also to torture Molly at the same time. But what that side thing I was about to get to is Danny using whatever he could for his resources and everything else. And what Miles Fisher wanted was Danny set up sort of like in Die Hard with a Vengeance, the third Die Hard movie. It sets up to where he sets things up for Miles just in a way to where Miles can rob, I believe he robs a bank full of money and bearer bonds. And, you know, he uses his brother's fire truck, which he used to get to the place that he needed to. And it's like, you know, Miles knew exactly what to do. And you could say, yeah, it's hokey that happened, that all that stuff just happened to be there for Danny Fisher to use. But still, I mean, it makes him like, wow, what a smart villain. Even though it does seem hokey and cheesy, it sets it up well. You know, Miles is just a conniving, vicious character. And, Danny's partner, who tries to help him out, you know, gets killed by him and by some of his men, like later in the film and all the different things. So yeah, Miles Jackson is a very vicious person. I mean, of course, they did say he was on a terrorist list, so I guess that goes without saying for many ways. You also have Ashley Scott, who don't know Ashley Scott from many other things. I've not really seen her in anything after this, but she plays Molly Porter. Alright, so she must have been Danny Fisher's girlfriend, because she's under the name of Molly Porter in this movie. And Molly Porter, you know, is his girlfriend. You know, like I said, she flies medical helicopters and and, you know, like, they set her up as this sort of, like, at first she seems sort of like a damsel in distress character, but she really, like, over time she tries to fight Miles, but Miles stops her so she doesn't get killed. You know, she finds him despicable, she finds him, you know, contemptible, and she's not fully, like, cowering in a corner. Ashley Scott and, you know, playing the character of Molly Porter shows how, you know, she knows that Danny will come for her. She has a toughness where she tries to fight him off, and, you know, like, she's showing defiance in her face the entire time she's tied up with him, gagged, and again, going back to that part on the trolley where Miles was dangling Molly in front of Danny, Molly had a bomb strapped to her body, you know, so if Danny did anything, he'd blow up the entire trolley. And sadly, you know, there were kids on the trolley, there were elderly folk, young folk, people of all shapes and sizes. And, you know, it's just one of those things that's completely messed up when he does it. And, you know, again, to find Miles Jackson more despicable, it's like, geez Louise. But, you know, and, like, you know, at that point, Molly was scared, because, I mean, who wouldn't be if you had a bomb strapped to you? And, you know, Ashley Scott just played the character well. And when they get to the helicopter at the end of the movie, you know, I think Molly was doing what she could to throw Miles off balance so that, you know, Danny could catch up to him and things like that. So Ashley, in my opinion, was not a completely weak character. She did what she could to show defiance and strength in front of Miles. For people who say, oh, she was just a damsel in distress, it's like she had some strength to her. She was not completely helpless, and she showed defiance. One of the things that can really make things difficult for when you're in front of a villain in any movies, if you're just like cowering and scared and kowtowing to everything they do, as long as you show a certain defiance and strength, that shows to me you're a good character, because you're not kowtowing to the villain's whims in many ways. So, you know, she did a good job there. There's also, let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yes, there is Steve Harris, who plays Special Agent George Aiken, who was the FBI agent assigned to stopping Miles Jackson. And, basically he has a pet peeve throughout this movie to where, he's upset that two cops ended up stopping Miles Jackson when he should have been the one to bust him, because there was a personal thing that you don't know about him. Oh, shoot, what was it again? George Aiken, George Aiken. And you don't know exactly what happened and whatnot, but he has this item that he always twirls in his hands. I think it was like a dice it's like a little children's toy that he dangles in his hand, and he's like always flipping around throughout the movie. So, George Aiken is a little miffed by that. And what we learn is that George Aiken and the FBI, nobody told Danny Fisher or his partner or any one of the cops in New Orleans that Miles Jackson broke out of prison with a bunch of other men. And, Danny Fisher really held that against George Aiken. And George is like, well, you're just along for the ride. It was need to know. You didn't exactly need to know. You're not a part of this, but, trust us. We're doing what we can. So there's a lot of conflict between that. And Steve Harris and John Cena really bring that out together well, because you can definitely see that there's conflict between the two. And, it's definitely a good anti-chemistry that both these characters don't like each other. And, it's up to George Aiken's partner to tell him, you gotta understand, my partner Aiken has been under a lot of stress. This thing is personal for him and everything like that. So Danny Fisher starts to wonder, well, what does he mean? Now, towards the end of the movie, both George Aiken and Danny Fisher team up, and as they're getting to the hospital to take down Miles Jackson, you have this part to where, George Aiken comes clean to Danny Fisher and says, this toy I have here, this belonged to a little girl, at some point, and it was this building that Miles Jackson blew up, killed this girl and a lot of people, and I used this as a reminder that I have to bust this guy, or if we don't bust him, we at least have to stop him, so this hopefully does not happen again. So I use this as a reminder of how evil this person is and what he's taken away from this world, and why you and I or anyone else have to imbue justice onto Miles Jackson. So when you get that, you find out that that's, it's a little cliche, but it is actually really cool, because I could see FBI agents really doing that for the most heinous of criminals, or CIA agents doing that for the most heinous of criminals too. And, there's actually a part where, once again, Danny Fisher and George Aiken get to the top of the helipad where Molly and Miles are already taken off. And sadly, when they get up to the top, George Aiken is taking some shots at Miles. Miles shoots George Aiken, injuring him and wounding him, and, taking him out. And when Miles Jackson and Danny Fisher have their big fight and Miles ends up getting killed, George Aiken has a big grin on his face, and he's laughing, and he's like, hey, I may not have been bringing him in, and, I may not have been the full one to stop him, but hey, at least this nightmare is over, and thank you, Danny Fisher. We were able to put away our differences and hatred for each other just because, I'm an FBI agent, and, you're a cop, blah, blah, blah. And, they were able to stop the guy together in many ways. So it was a nice little touch. Then you have, Brian White, who is Danny Fisher's partner, who also became a detective, and he's Hank Carver. And Hank Carver sort of, helps Danny out on this mission while he's chasing down Miles Jackson. Danny is in his ear and things like that, and always letting him know what he can do. He's very similar, again, to Speed, where Keanu Reeves had Jeff Daniels as his partner helping him out. That's who Hank is. Hank is Danny's partner throughout this film, just trying to keep things with him and to help him out, and always having his back. And they set up right in the film very early on when they're both the cops working the beat, and when they stop Miles at the beginning, you can tell that Hank and Danny are really good friends, that they've been friends on the force for quite a long time, and they both, became major detectives thanks to what they ended up doing. And it goes to where, like, Hank is doing whatever he can to help him out, like, and then Hank gets a tip on where Miles Jackson is and possibly where Molly is, and Hank grabs another partner and a few cops with him, and they go up to this abandoned factory building, and there's a couple of Miles Jackson's henchmen in there, and the henchmen take out a couple of, they take out the other police with Hank. Hank takes out a lot of the other guys. And then there's one guy who helped Miles Jackson set up everything. And what happens is Miles, or Hank gets there. He stops the one dude from leaving. And right when they're fighting, and right when, I think Hank goes down, and right before the one henchman can kill Hank or take the final blow against Hank, you see that there's a red case that lights up, or a case that had a red dot in it, that the red dot starts blinking, and the henchman and both Hank realize, oh shit, Miles Jackson put a bomb in here, and boom, the building explodes, and Hank dies in the process of trying to stop these henchmen who work for Miles Jackson, and maybe even getting some more info on Miles Jackson. So Miles Jackson's men were expendable. Hank gets caught in the crossfire, thus making Danny get even more pissed at Miles and making this an even bigger vendetta and all that stuff. It's very similar to what happens to Keanu Reeves and Jeff Daniels, since they were partners in Speed. It's very similar to that, and it's just as sad and upsetting that it went to that. But again, you want a vicious villain, take out the guy's friends and everybody else, and you're just like, son of a bitch. Danny Fisher can't get a break. And he's not on the main jacket cover, but he is a part of the main cast, and he's actually a character I like. There is a character named Ray Santiago, who's played by Gonzalo Gonzalo Menendez, who is, again, George Aiken's partner. And at first he seems like he doesn't care for Danny and helping out and everything, but he knows that George Aiken is becoming way obsessed with this case, and he's letting it get to him. And Ray Santiago can see, we should have told this guy. We should have let him know what was going on. And, like, it gets to the point where he's fed up with George Aiken. He actually leaves George Aiken, and he ends up helping Danny the best that he can for a bit. And also to the part when Danny is on a trolley, and the trolley brakes are broken, and they're about to go into a Mardi Gras or little party thing that's right at the end of the trolley tracks. Ray Santiago and Danny Fisher are trying to work together to stop the trolley. They take the FBI car that Santiago had, that Danny was driving, and they park it in front of it. Like, Danny tries to stop the trolley and the trolley basically climbs out the back of the car in a cool action scene to climb on the trolley and try to get the trolley to stop. Then Ray Santiago's in the car trying to hit the brakes on the car to hope the car slows it down, but it's not really working, and it's just a whole chaotic, cool mess. And I actually liked how Gonzalo Menendez played that, because you could believe he really cared about Danny and about the situation, and he was getting just fed up how no side was getting anything done, but this guy, this one lone cop, is making a lot of progress. Let's help him, and let's try to save his girlfriend from this maniac. And I like how Gonzalo Menendez played that character really well. So I liked Ray Santiago in this picture. So Gonzalo Menendez played a good character in that as well. You have a great action score by Trevor Rabin. I know Trevor Rabin has done a couple of Renny Harlin pictures before, and Trevor Rabin does a nice, good action score. Not completely memorable throughout certain things, but it is a good action score, and it does have a good, nice, fast pace to it, and things like that too. So it's just funny. And also, I should mention at the end of the movie, there's this part where after Molly and Danny get out of the pool, there's these two people in the hot tub as the money is coming down from the exploded helicopter and all those different things. You know, these couple are sitting there in shock like that in that tub, and you hear that they're listening to music, and it's getting sexual. Mark Henry sexual chocolate theme. So what a shame! What a shameless music plug by WWE there. It's like, I mean, it's just funny to see that there. It's like, wow, we couldn't get away with one WWE reference for once. Holy crap. So, you know, it gets a good laugh out of me. It's just a shameless plug by WWE. And, you know, again, Renny Harlin, you know, directs a great film in this movie. Daniel Kunka wrote the script for this movie. Again, it's a very basic action script, but that's what makes this movie fun. It's a fun movie. We're not supposed to take it too seriously. The story is pretty good to me, but you know, it's just a fun movie. Yes, there's a lot of cheesiness, but I can enjoy the movie for what it is and what it, you know, is representing to us. Hopefully I can finish this review without drinking more water, guys. Oh, man. Well, and you know, Renny Harlin, you know, directs a lot of good films. So, you know, hey, I mean, I don't think he gets a lot of his due credit for what he does. But before I go into more of that, let's get into the Rotten Tomatoes, which, again, oh boy, you know, this movie was not well received by anybody. Basically, 12 Rounds has a 30% critic liking and a 45% audience score, which to me is disappointing, but hey, what can you do? Action films either don't have the same feel as they used to do, or if you do have a good action film, not everybody loves action films like they used to, because, oh my god, they're too violent. But, let me read you the critic consensus from Rotten Tomatoes, and I quote, "Energetic but empty, 12 rounds, a preposterous plot hurtles along at a rapid pace but can't disguise the derivative script." Clearly you guys have never seen Speed. That's what I'm going to say. Clearly nobody has ever seen Speed. Speed was a fun movie, but that plot line in many ways makes no fucking sense either when you give it a think. I mean, holy crap, guys. Can we go to a movie and sometimes just have fun? Because, yeah, 12 Rounds does not make a lot of sense. But neither do a lot of other action movies when you think about it. Not even the John Wick movies make sense. But, you know, it's cool to see these bizarre, larger-than-life worlds with a lot of action. If you love a lot of action in your films, like, you know, whether it's gunfights, explosions, you know, and other cool things. And plus, you know, when you can enjoy a little bit of the plot with it, which I did, and even though it's very reminiscent to Speed, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It makes me, 12 Rounds makes me go, I have to get Speed at some point, because Speed is a great movie, and I look at this movie as the brother or sister movie to Speed. And to me, it's an enjoyable film. So I get what they're getting at, but man, oh man, you know, no rest for the action films, huh? Let's see here. Let's get to that one thing. And yeah, I'll give you guys a couple here, because yeah, it's mostly rotten. I see two positive, but we'll go for all the rotten ones right now. There was one from November 18th, 2011, from Drew Toll of Time Out, which the quote is not available, so I can't even quote the quote. Another one is from September 1st of 2009, so right after the movie in many ways was released, from Rob Nelson of Variety. Heavy on stunts, but light on plausibility, humor, surprise, visual integrity, or psychological depth. I really don't know what to say to that. I really don't know what to say to that. Wow. It's an action film, guys. Holy shit. Because when you break apart an action movies don't make sense. You have to enjoy them for the ride. And if the plot and things they do with it and turn out being just as good, cool. 12 rounds to me, I can look at this movie and go, this movie's just a fun ride. It can't be taken too seriously, but I enjoy it because to me, it is a great action movie. I mean, it's a fun one. I mean, it's not perfect in any ways. It's not the Lethal Weapons. It's not Die Hard. But it is to me, it is a great, great film. Let's see. Here is one from Derek Malcolm of the London Evening Standard from June 2nd of 2009. And I quote, "Apart from the palpably improbable storyline, Harlin shows a massive disregard for characterization and so much bang-bang editing that you scarcely know where you are. Unlike rewatching, when I rewatched with one of my friends, A Good Day to Die Hard, I knew where they were at in 12 rounds the entire time, where A Good Day to Die Hard, that whole beginning chase scene, I mean, as good as that is and as great action as that is, that got nauseating to me. I didn't feel nauseated with the 12 rounds down. Now, granted, maybe I will see that and other times that I see the film, but I always thought the action scenes in 12 rounds were nicely well paced. I didn't think they were that bad at all. And I like how people give Renny Harlin a bad time for characterization. It's like, again, in a lot of action movies, you don't get a whole complete thing of characterization sometimes. And you know what? As much as they blame Renny Harlin, could that also be blamed on a bit of the writing by Daniel Kunka? Because maybe Daniel Kunka failed at that as well. But you know what? I guess I could see that because the characters are not completely fleshed out. But in this sort of movie, with what it was about, did they really need to be? Because I thought the way they set it up was pretty damn good. And again, the movie is adequately timed. It's an hour and 48 minutes. It's a decent film for, an action film. It's good. It's greatly paced and decently put. So, hey. Let's see. Here is one from May 29th of 2009 from Tom Huddlestone of Time Out. And he quotes, in a rotten review, of course, there's a decent little action movie somewhere inside 12 rounds, a bit more complexity of character, a few more jokes, and a hero who doesn't look like a 2x4 with a buzz cut might have gone a long way. Wow, that was an insult to John Cena. Wow, clearly you don't remember Arnold Schwarzenegger at all. Clearly you don't remember Sylvester Stallone. Clearly you don't remember any of the people from the action movies in the 80s at all. 80s was known for having the over-the-top big guys. Holy shit. Nobody gave Arnold Schwarzenegger that shit. Like, John Cena a 2x4. You know what? You know who's a guy who has the overall hunkiness and a nice smile and seems like a bit of a jackass? Yeah, that's Dwayne Johnson. That's Dwayne Johnson. You want the poster child for the Brody paper towels? There's fucking Dwayne Johnson right there, guys. Again, because in my opinion, Dwayne Johnson's mediocre. You know, okay, you look at John Cena here. And anyone who knows WWE wrestling knows John Cena is a huge guy. He's well built, but he's 258 pounds. But he's well fucking built. He's got muscles up the ass. So did Arnold Schwarzenegger. Doesn't anybody remember Carl Weathers? So was Carl Weathers. Sylvester Stallone. Didn't anybody see Predator? Look at how Jesse Ventura was in that. Look at Sonny Landham. Look at the guy who I forget the actor who played Poncho, but Poncho. Even Shane Black had a lot of muscle in that movie, and he was the skinniest guy in that film. I mean, they were all fucking ripped, and stars in the 80s had great bodies. They were the essential hero. Even Bruce Willis was a good-looking maverick for the first 3 movies, and nobody gave him shit for it. Man, oh man. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I had to go to town about that, because wow, if we're getting on the look of John Cena, again, clearly, guys, you've never seen an 80s or 90s action film. Clearly, you have never seen any of those. Holy crap, Tom Huddlestone. Oh, man. Alright. And then we have another sadly rotten review from Wendy Ide of the Times UK. And this is from May 29th, 2009. And I quote, "A lunk-headed, brawling action movie with more muscle than brains and kind of editing that feels like being repeatedly shot in the eyes with a staple gun." Don't watch an action film. That's all I gotta say, Wendy Ide. Don't watch an action film. Because I don't... Again, maybe when I see the movie again, maybe I'll see these editing mistakes and terrible editing that they saw, but seeing the film, the editing did not seem that bad in 12 rounds. Because if it was, I would have complained about it. Because, I'll admit, even when I did see A Good Day to Die Hard for the very first time, I'll say for that chase scene, that editing, even the first time I saw A Good Day to Die Hard, when I saw it in theaters, even when I was in theaters, I'm like, holy crap, don't intercut and, all these things so damn much. I mean, holy crap. And then, there's a few other films that have that's just like, wait, holy shit. And it's so, oh man, sorry guys. It's so, bizarre that it's like, holy crap, But yeah, you don't, just don't watch action movies. Because I have no idea what to say about that. That's just like, don't watch action films if you're that blah about it. Let's see. Okay, now we'll get to the 2 positive reviews that I have here. This one is from May 29th of 2009 from Genevieve Harrison of Empire Magazine. And she has a positive review, and it is, this is a welcome throwback for audiences raised on 90s action flicks. What they used to call a pulse-pounding roller coaster thrill ride of a movie. Yes! Thank you, Genevieve Harrison. Thank you, Genevieve Harrison. You get what action films are about. Thumbs up to you. That's exactly how I felt about this film. A return to the old action style. That doesn't necessarily work today, but hey, if you love action films, it works. Thank you, Genevieve Harrison. Holy crap. Man, oh man, some of these people's constructive criticisms for the Rottens, I mean, I respect them for being vicious, but then I can answer back with my things. You know, it's what me and my friends do all the time. And even friends who tell me that. It's just like how, you know, sometimes if you want crazy and pulse-pounding bad editing, look at some of the superhero films today. Man, are some of the editing bad. Like, take me back to the 80s and 90s, where the editing in superhero films is really good. Nowadays, it's all fucking crazy. Yeah, but I'll get, let's see, I'll give you, the other positive one, and it's from September 21st of 2010 from, Kevin Carr of 7M Pictures, and I quote, "As a fast food action director, Renny Harlin still delivers a fun movie." I wouldn't necessarily call him a fast food movie director, but, you know, yes, he delivered a very good and fun movie. I agree with you on that completely. Absolutely. And, you know, overall, you know, with this film, you know, I think it's a fun film. It is a good movie for its fun action. The story is decent. It's nothing great, but it's decent. You can rip it apart and question it all you want, but I mean, that's the thing about action films. If you question it too much, you really take the fun out of it, because you can do that with almost any action film. But I still think Renny Harlin made a good movie. I really think Renny Harlin is an underappreciated movie director, and I think he deserves a lot more credit than what he's ever gotten for his films, really. And, you know, that's just where I leave it at, because that's what I think. And what do you guys think, though? Have you guys ever seen 12 Rounds? I mean, if you haven't, I would suggest, if you like action films, you should definitely check it out. It is worth the see. It is a very fun movie. I mean, again, it cements to me how good of an actor John Cena is. Regardless of all the praise, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson gets more than him or Dave Bautista, but I think those two are way better than Dwayne Johnson by leagues and miles. Or miles and leagues, whichever one goes first. And, you know, overall, just a fun movie. But, yeah, again, what do you guys think? You know, if you want, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of 12 Rounds, and just get back to me on what you thought of it. But until then, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review. And let me again remind you, so none of you forget ever, fuck Joe Biden, fuck this establishment, fuck everyone in his clique from Jen Psaki to Kamala Harris, who's probably running the country herself anyway, the bitch, and also PBS. Drag queens? Trying to teach young kids to be drag queens? What the fuck is wrong with you, PBS? I can't believe I used to watch your programming as a kid, but that's when you still had a fucking brain in your goddamn heads and you guys weren't so political up your butts. I mean, you know, maybe if you take the little fucking Democrat out of your ass, or liberal out of your ass, you can maybe be a semi-decent channel again, but oh no, you'll never do that. And also, Don Lemon, fuck you and your opinion. Because just like how you're probably thinking right now, my fucking opinion doesn't matter with my two fingers sticking up in there. Oh, look at this asshole, his two fingers. Well, Don Lemon, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I hope that mic gets lodged up your backside and you have to have surgery to remove it, and then you won't be able to sit right for the rest of your goddamn life because you have some comeuppance coming to your stupid ass for hating everybody. You know what? You're the real supremacist, not white people, not Republicans. You're the supremacist, you dumb fuck. Have a good day, Don Lemon. Hope you shine that thing up real nice so one day someone can stick it right up your ass. Alright, guys. Have a good one. Out. Deuces. And you know what? Fuck the Liberal Party and the establishment. Good night.